The Little Steps to Big Success. Elara stood in the middle of the sunny town square, staring at a giant, bright yellow poster. The Great Hill Race, it announced in bold, curly letters. There was a picture of a sleek, fast car crossing a finish line. Elara's heart began to dance. She wanted to be in that race more than anything in the world. But she didn't have a car, and she didn't know how to build one. When she got home, Elara went straight to the garage. She found a messy heap of old wooden boards, a bucket of rusty nails, and a tangled garden hose. It didn't look like a racing car at all. It looked like a mountain of junk. Elara sat on a dusty crate and sighed. The goal felt way too big, and she felt very small. Her neighbor, Soren, walked in carrying a silver measuring tape. He saw Elara's sad face and knelt down. "Every big thing starts with a tiny piece, Elara," Soren said gently. "You don't have to build the whole car today. You just have to do one small thing. What is the first thing a car needs?" Elara thought for a moment. "Wheels," she whispered. On Monday, Elara didn't worry about the engine or the steering wheel. She spent the whole afternoon searching every corner of the yard. By the time the sun began to set, she had found 4 matching wheels from an old garden cart. She lined them up in a row and felt a tiny spark of pride. She was one step closer. Tuesday was the day for sanding. Elara picked up a long, rough board. It was scratchy and full of splinters. She took a piece of sandpaper and rubbed the wood back and forth, back and forth. It was hard work, and her arms grew tired. But by dinner time, the wood was as smooth as silk. One more small step was finished. On Wednesday, Soren came back to help. He showed Elara how to hold a heavy metal wrench. Together, they worked on the most difficult part, attaching the wheels to a long metal axle. "Slow and steady," Soren reminded her. Elara turned the wrench until her fingers tingled. Finally, the wheels were locked tight. They didn't wobble at all. By Thursday, the Wonder Wagon finally had a floor and a seat. It still didn't have any color, and it didn't have a nose, but it stayed together when Elara climbed inside. She sat in the wooden seat and gripped an imaginary steering wheel. She closed her eyes and could almost hear the cheering of the crowd at the Great Hill. On Friday, the sky turned dark and heavy. Rain began to drum against the garage roof. Elara watched the puddles grow outside and felt frustrated. She wanted to work on her car, but the paint wouldn't dry in the damp air. It felt like her progress had come to a full stop. "I'm going to run out of time," she cried. Soren walked in with a box of bright crayons and a stack of white paper. "If we can't build with our hands today, we can build with our minds," he said with a wink. They sat on the floor and drew dozens of designs. They drew stars, lightning bolts, and racing stripes. Even though the rain didn't stop, Elara's car was getting better in her head. Saturday was a day of color. The sun came out, and Elara grabbed her favorite paintbrush. She remembered the drawings she made with Soren. Carefully, she painted a bright yellow lightning bolt across the side of the blue car. She took her time, making sure every line was straight. By sunset, the Wonder Wagon was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Race day finally arrived. Elara stood at the very top of the big hill. Tucked inside her Wonder Wagon, she wore a shiny silver helmet and held the steering rope tight. She looked down the long, steep road. It looked scary, but then she looked at her car. She remembered the sanding, the bolting, and the painting. She was ready. Elara didn't just race, she flew. The wind roared past her ears as the Wonder Wagon zoomed toward the finish line. When she finally stopped, Soren ran over to give her a giant high five. Elara looked back at the hill and smiled. She realized that the finish line was great, but the little steps she took every day were the real victory.
Subscribe to the channel and like the bell icon. Thanks for watching LevelUp Talks production. See you soon again.